The Detroit Pistons were supposed to take a slight jump this year at the bare minimum. And once again, it seems as though things are not coming together. You added Monty Williams as your head coach, and it seems like the more things change, the more they stay the same. And the Detroit Pistons are currently on, what is it, a
12-game losing streak.
12-game losing streak, and they're 2-13 at the current moment after starting the season 2-1 and looking real promising. Well, what's the biggest contributor to the Detroit Pistons' current 12-game skid?
So I'll go first because I don't have much to say on this. I'll be honest. I'm like Charles Barkley. I don't watch bad teams. I don't watch the Pistons. I'm not going to watch the Pistons. They're just horrible. Like
they suck. They suck.
They just suck. Like what else do you say about a team losing 12 straight? I mean, yeah, where do they go from here? I'll pass it off to you guys.
I mean, I had high hopes. Well, I don't want to say high hopes. I kind of, with them getting Monty, I thought there was going to be, I think that was their change in season. Yeah, I thought that was going to be something to, like, at least put some kind of fire under these guys' ass and make them actually want to play basketball. But it's like sometimes, like, I probably watched 3 or 4 Pistons games, and that's when Jalen Duren was kind of going on a tear and he was playing out of his fucking mind with him and Cade. But sometimes Monty just be trolling with the lineups, bro. Like he'll have Beef Stew and Jalen Duren on the floor at the same time.
Which that I think is fine.
It really depends on who you playing, honestly. It depends on who you playing.
It depends on who else is in the lineup.
Yeah. And then he'll have Cade, Asar, and
Killian.
Yeah, and like he'll have
Hayes, bro. Stop it.
Killian Hayes is like, I don't know how he still has a job. If I'm gonna be completely honest.
Beats me.
Yeah.
Beats me at this point.
Yeah, it's certain like I think they just suck, bro. I think that's really
they have no veterans either.
Yeah, it's like
see they do. Alec Burks, baby. Like he's
a vet, but he's not
a leader. He's not
like a culture instilling vet.
Yeah, facts.
So I'm not gonna speak too much on this either. I haven't watched a bunch of Detroit Pistons basketball. I've maybe watched 2 games so far this season. But the biggest frustration for me is the exact reasons that you just brought up, Sleazy. These lineups. What the fuck are we doing? Why do you have Cade, who has clearly shown that he has like legitimate star potential and, give him some sort of runway to the basket. But instead they do the complete opposite and have 3 guys on the floor, because I want to give Beef Stew his credit. He's turned himself into a legitimate 3-point shooter. 3 guys on the floor that can't stretch the floor. Killian Hayes shooting 30% from 3. Asar Thompson, I feel like airballs 2 or 3 threes a game. But do not get me wrong. Asar will be a very, 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 very good NBA player.
Yeah, facts.
And already one of, if not the most effective perimeter defenders in the entire NBA. That needs to be out there right now. But there is one thing that he is not, and that is a shooter. Aside from that, Cade Cunningham is now getting on a floor that is so cramped with non-shooters that you're basically taking away what he is so capable of doing, and that is getting to the rim, that is creating space for himself. There's no other threats in the lineup. If you take Killian out and you put Alec Burks, I can promise you there will be a big difference in that alone, given that Alec Burks shoots 40% from 3. You get Bogdanovich back, that will be a big difference in just plugging him in, giving another guy that shoots 40+% from 3. Jaden Ivey, give him a shot in the starting lineup for all I care. Like, just anybody but Killian.
Yeah,
and I'm cool with Asar coming off the bench and being a defensive spark plug, or at least surrounding him with more shooters. When Bogdanovich comes back, put him at the 4, and Alec Burks in at the 2 with instead of Killian Hayes. And then there you go. You have shooting. You could keep Asar in the lineup, given that he's a defensive animal, because you have 2 guys who could space the floor at 40% clip.
Yeah, no. Killian Hayes in a starting lineup in 2023 is just
nasty,
out of this world. He's the Zach Wilson of the NBA, bro.
He is. No, he is.
What's he doing out there?
That's a great way to put it.
What does he have on? What does he have on?
And it's crazy because like the Detroit roster it's not terrible, but it's
not this bad. It shouldn't be this bad.
Like they don't have no offensive schemes. I feel like they don't run no sets for nobody. They just go out and run the floor. If you get open, you open.
Yeah.
Maybe DeAndre Ayton was right. Monty
Maybe.
Williams ain't it.
Maybe.
Monty ain't it. Chris, go ahead. This is your squad, so I turn the floor over to you now, buddy.
Oh boy.
All right.
Sit back and relax, kids. He's going in.
He is about to go nuts.
It's just rough right now. Alec Burks has been in and out of the lineup. Bojan has yet to play so far this season. But the thing that irks me with the Pistons is they've spent 3 straight top 5 draft picks on guards, on perimeter play.
True.
And they aren't even giving it a chance. And this is what makes me upset. Over this 12-game losing streak, Jaden Ivey's playing 22 minutes. He hasn't started a game. It just doesn't make sense to me. Just doesn't make sense to me, the Jaden Ivey stuff. That's what I'll start with. I don't understand how you could draft a guy in the top 5 who has all this potential. Everyone's talking about after the draft last year. The Pistons got the steal of the draft. He should have been the 2nd overall pick. Jaden Ivey is like that. That's what I was saying.
Yeah.
And then he goes into his 2nd year, and you don't even give the guy a chance. You start Killian Hayes over him. Killian Hayes. That's who you're starting over him before giving this guy a chance. It doesn't make sense. So that's one. Second is, they have Killian Hayes playing basketball. And he's not good. He's a 40% shooter from the field. He shoots 32% from 3.
On a good day, 40%.
Right. Shoots 32% from 3. Like, he is not a good offensive player. He's just not. Especially when you have a guy like Cade Cunningham, who's supposed to be the franchise. He's supposed to be the guy you're building around. You're supposed to put him in position to succeed. Why are you starting him next to a guy who, 1, isn't a good basketball player, is arguably the worst basketball player in the league, but 2, what he is good at, what he what he's deemed to be not as bad as other categories of basketball at, is playing on the ball. But you already have a guy for that. You have Cade Cunningham, who's handling the ball all game long. So why are you starting Killian Hayes next to him? You have options.
I think Monty is really trying to unlock something in Killian that's just not there.
It's just not there.
At that point, start Marcus Sasser.
It's just not. It just sucks.
Exactly. Oh my God! Yes, please. At that point, start him. At least he can shoot the ball.
Right.
Yep.
It just sucks because we watched Killian for 3 years already, and we said he sucks. And they kept playing him. And a lot of it was due to guys being out because they were tanking and shit like that. And he gave them the best chance to lose. But now you bring in a new coach who went to a finalist with the Suns. You made him the highest paid coach in NBA history. You would think we're done with this trying to lose shit. We're done with this sabotaging Cade Cunningham's career shit. But Monty Williams is no different than the rest. He keeps trotting Killian Hayes out there, and it doesn't make sense. And I'll say this. I'll say a few things before I end, actually, because I'm not done yet. Cade Cunningham is a good basketball player, and Cade Cunningham could potentially be the engine of an offense.
Mm-hmm.
Let's not judge Cade Cunningham based off this, please. We talk about it all the time. We talk about it with Justin Herbert.
I was actually about to fucking say exactly that.
Talk about
Chris.
it with Justin Herbert.
Wow, I'm glad you brought that up. I was about to say the exact same thing.
So
it's either, in the NBA, bro, it's either you win or you suck, bro. It's no middle ground.
Yeah.
With NBA discourse, yes.
Yeah.
We could acknowledge the fact that Cade Cunningham hasn't been that efficient. He's amongst the league leaders in turnovers. But he always has the ball in his hands, and he has no spacing around him.
Yeah.
Asar Thompson is out there getting guarded by centers.
Yep.
When your wing is having centers guard him and sit in the paint, it's just gonna. And I like you said, like you mentioned, I didn't even have to mention it because you already did. You nailed it. Asar Thompson's been great. He is a generational defensive prospect. And I said that in my pre-draft. I said he's the best perimeter defensive prospect I've seen since Kawhi Leonard.
I was about to say
and I meant that. He's insane. The stocks, the steals, and the blocks, like he's going to get all those. But he is a non-factor in terms of shooting the ball. You have Jalen Duren, who's been great in and out of the lineup, hasn't played recently during this losing streak, but he's a non-factor shooting the ball. You have Killian Hayes, who is a non-factor shooting the ball. There is no chance Cade Cunningham succeeds. There's no chance. And you see it in their games. And Cade's also, before they were the worst team, well, they were been the worst team ever, but before this year, we've seen with Cade. Cade has that nonchalant game, takes his time with it. He's going to get to his, he's very
Luka-esque.
elegant in terms of the way he gets to his spots, and he picks his spots and he will get to those spots, and he will shoot. If he picks a spot, he's going to shoot that bitch no matter what. If he picks a spot in the mid-range, it says, hey, I'm going to go to the left, I'm going to cross back over, I'm going to go to the right, take 2 dribbles, and I'm shooting this bitch. He's shooting that bitch. No matter who's guarding him, what the defense is. And especially now playing on the worst team ever assembled over the past 12 games, he's clearly just going to get his. He's clearly just out there hooping, just trying to get buckets. It's clear as day what he's trying to do. So you got to cut him some slack. I still believe in Cade Cunningham. I still think he's a franchise player. He has elite defensive upside that he still hasn't tapped into yet. He's, elite playmaking chops, and he could score the ball from all 3 levels. In terms of the Pistons as a whole, I kind of feel the same way about them that I feel with Cade. I give them a little bit of a pass. And I know it's hard to do that because they've been so bad for so long. Like I said, made Monty Williams the highest paid coach in NBA history. You have a plethora of lottery picks on your squad. It's time to, take a step forward. But they've been pretty injured to start the year. Like, they really have no chance. I think Bojan helps his team expeditiously. Like, he comes in and he adds so much to this team. It can't be overstated. He was so great for them. Last year when they won a game, he was the reason why they won a game. The only reason why they won a game. Multiple times. Going for 30 on elite efficiency. So he helps. We haven't got to see him and Cade play together yet. We saw it for 10 games last year?
Yes.
And they were okay. Like, they were fine. Him and Cade, not the team. But they were okay. I think they could develop a really cool 2-man game. Like you said, Beef Stew is really awesome as a role player. Plays defense, rebounds the ball, hustles, and can stretch the floor. He's awesome as a role player. We saw the first 5 games of the season with Jalen Duren could be. Sar Thompson's only going to get better. I think Jaden Ivey should only get better, but that's just such a murky situation. And even if you do end up trading Jaden Ivey, you should get some pieces that could be able to play for
Zach
you.
LaVine.
It's rough,
I don't
man.
like that personally.
I do. I like the fit
With Cade?
like the best.
Yeah,
I like the fit with everyone. I like the fit with Cade. I like
Sar.
Zach playing off of Sar. I like
Yeah.
Zach having a big man like Jalen Duren. Like, I like the fit. But obviously, like, the Pistons are so a ways away that Zach LaVine isn't changing that much for them. Like, they're still going to be one of the worst teams in the NBA with or without him. But I do like the fit. It depends what you have to give up. You don't want to mortgage. Obviously, it seems like if you're going for Zach LaVine and Jaden Ivey's as good as gone, which I would be thrilled about if I was as a Bulls fan. Yeah.
Yep.
Getting fucking Jaden Ivey back for Zach LaVine, I'd be fucking stoked. But it's such a tricky situation with Jaden Ivey because they haven't even given him a chance.
Nope.
So strange. So strange.
I don't hate him as a 6th man. I just hate him as a 6th man when Killian Hayes is starting ahead of him.
Facts.
Like that. And plus, when you're giving him 22 minutes a game, you could be a 6th man getting 28 to 30 minutes per game and being heavily involved in the offense. Like, that's a situation where I don't hate Ivy in that case.
Also, you don't draft a guy top 5 to be a 6th man.
Yes, and I get that.
You know what I mean?
But
sometimes guys
works out that way.
We find out they're better off as a 6th man, but you at least give them a chance. Dion Waiters got a chance.
I agree. No, yeah, I'm with you.
Dion Waiters was a 6th man in college, and he still got a chance to start.
Yeah.
You at least give him a chance. I agree with you. I think there's a world where Jaden Ivey could be one of the best spark plugs in the league off the bench.
I'm not saying he is a 6th man. I'm saying if you're going to use him in that role, that way should be the specific way of doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So murky with them, man. Such a tough watch, too.
It is.
It's really hard to watch them sometimes.
It's hard to watch.
Really hard.
They gave it their all against the Nuggets the other night, but Jokic got ejected. So, like,
Yeah, what
And
is
they
that
lost.
usually
And they
means?
lost to Reggie. They lost to Reggie Jackson.
Yeah, you lost to Reggie Jackson. So
Who's been hooping this year?
He has been hooping.
Who's been hooping this year?
To be fair.
You can't lose to Reggie Jackson, hooping or not.
Yeah, I'm saying like if
You can't be losing to Reggie Jackson.
basketball
bro.
of his life, you can't lose to the Jokic and Jamal Murray-less Nuggets, bro. You just can't do that.
Oh boy, bro. The Nuggets are beat up and still finding ways to win, man. Like that's
I hate them, bro. I really hate them.
they're ridiculous. But yeah, bro, like it's rough. It's rough in Detroit right now. Detroit basketball is it is tough
It's
right
not
now.
fun.
At
It
least
is
the Lions are good. Shit, they got something to cheer about.
Yeah,
facts.
True.
Big Thanksgiving Day game tomorrow, which I'm excited for. Even though it's probably going to be a blowout because Jordan Love is fucking buns. But regardless, this is the basketball podcast, so no more football. But yeah, poor Detroit, man. At least they got the Lions to cheer for. You are right
Yep.
about that one.